We're talking about moving on without them. And while I'm married now, there was a time that I had to come to the place where I knew something wasn't working out, and I had a choice of either being stuck in that same place and nothing moving in my life, and I had to come to grips with that. And either I was going to have to stay in it and suffer, stay in it and waste time, stay in it and face the consequences, or I was going to have to move over. Now, as I was putting this together tonight, I was thinking about, we watching the news, all of the things that's going on with the Mexico border and those trying to cross over into the United States. We know that those from Mexico are trying to cross over because they want a better life. They don't like the way things are in their country, and they want to move over into a better life. And I thought about that, and I thought about this dividing wall and different things like that. And so I want to kind of tonight use that as an analogy here and there in terms of being in a place where you can't really progress and you can't move forward. Then, and also crossing over into a better place. They've heard the stories in terms of crossing over, what can happen. And there's a lot of chances that you have to take in terms of crossing over. But you've got to look at what can happen by successfully crossing over. So tonight, one of the things I know you're probably afraid of letting go because you're afraid of the unknown. And I can understand that. But you got to think about it. What is it inside of you? What is it? It could be something that stems all the way from your childhood. What is it about you? What is it that's in you that makes you feel that you can't let go of something? Carrie and Rhea says, I live in Laredo, Texas, so she knows what I'm talking about, because that border's right over there. What is it about you that you feel that you have to have your hand on something else before you can let go of something previous? You got to think about that for a minute. What is that about? What is it about you where you can't completely let go of something that's hurting you in order to take a chance at something, at a possibility of having a whole new life? You can't have one without the other. Sooner or later, you're going to have to let go. And I'm hoping tonight that us sitting down and having this little fireside chat will give you the courage enough to let go. Andrea Jackson said fear. Kathy Powell, and y'all are saying some really good things, saying just loneliness. But you've got to look at the fear and the loneliness. And a lot of times those two go together. Fear of the unknown is a monster. Loneliness is a monster. No one wants to be afraid of anything. You want to feel secure. No one wants to be alone. I get that. I get that. Thank you, Pamela Cottrell. But the only way, check this out. Again, using my border analogy, the only way to move to a better life is you're going to have to take that chance and cross the border. You're going to have to take that chance because, watch this, those people who physically cross the border, many of them are not just doing it for themselves, but they're doing it so their family can survive. There's a future family in you. Where you go, there is a future family in you, whether you can have future children or not. But if you have physical children, there's a future family in you that's relying on you to be able to provide for them. Now, what am I saying? Let me see if I can help you tonight. If you don't get your hands on some different resources, you're not going to be able to help your family. If you're in a miserable relationship in another country, and you know that the possibilities of being set free and the possibilities that could be afforded to you in another, just crossing over. If you don't get out of this, where you be, you're not going to be any help to your children. You know it. You know I'm telling the truth. Whether they're in your house or not in your house. You know, there's certain things that God is looking for you to be able to pass on to your family. And if you're not clear, mentally, physically, spiritually, if you're not free, mentally, physically, spiritually, God bless you, Rob, you will not be able to be a blessing to your family. So in order to be a blessing to your family, you're going to have to, and a blessing to yourself, you're going to have to take some risks. Let me say something else to you. You're afraid of the unknown. I got it. I do got it. I've been there. You're afraid of being alone. I got it. I've been there. Okay? But when you met this person, everything about this person that you were with was unknown. And the only thing that made you go forward with it was you were excited about the possibilities of being with this person. Am I right about it? That was really the only thing you were excited. Here's somebody finally. I'm excited of what the possibility. But before you met them, you were alone. Before you met them, everything was unknown about this person. Now, many of you that are watching me have some sort of relationship with God. You need to understand and look at this. If God kept you before that person, my old high school classmate friend, Dawn Reese is on, God bless you. If God kept you before you met that person, if you made it in life somehow, some way before you met that person, what is it now? What's the difference now between you letting that person go? My son is on, Christopher Cherry. God bless you, son. I love you so much. What's the difference now between what you didn't know about where you were before you met this person and where you're at after this person? You mean to tell me that this person has such a strong hold on you that they have made you forget the past, how you made it before them? You mean to tell me that this person is so strong in everything, God bless you, Dawn, in everything that they've given you, that you're not able to see what God can have for you for the future? You mean to tell me that this person who's making your life miserable, that's no good for you right now, has got you so blindsided that you can't see anything that God can possibly have for you down the road? If you can get this thing into focus, it will help you to shift. I'm telling you, we sing that song, God is my everything. Trina, you and I play it. We played it. We play it. I preach it. He's my joy and sorrow. He's my hope for tomorrow. You're singing that song. God is my everything. If you could sing that song in church, but when you get out of church, now Terry is your everything. And my wife just said that person could have become your God. We're saying in church, God is my everything. If you're saying God is my everything, that you can let go. That gives you strength to let go, because that person is not God. God was there before you hooked up with this person. And when you let this person go, God is going to be there. And that much more so when you have the faith to let go of this person. It could be Terry, it could be Tina, you got to have that faith. And so God is saying, what is it about this person I'm going to tell you what it is. And you already know I'm going there. You know what it is about this person? You already know I'm going there. You slept with this person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that's how dangerous. When the Bible says, all the other sins are committed outside of the body, but those that fornicate and do this are committing sin against their own body. You've created this yoke. You've created this weight. You've created, as Dawn and already knows we're going to go there, that soul tie. You've created that thing. So that thing that you created in your secret laboratory of lust has now permeated to the fact that it goes against your very affirmation of faith. I got to go to church for 2 seconds and then I'll go back. And so when you're in church saying God is my everything, but you can't, but when you get out of church, Terry, that guy, this guy is your everything, and you can't break away and break free. There's a contradictory there. Is God your everything? Because if God is your everything, you should be able to place everything on everything. Okay? If he's your everything, if God is saying in so many ways to let go, you need to let go. Stephanie Brazel, I like what you said there. You've got to let go. You've got to get to the place where you trust in God enough to be excited about the possibilities that are on the other side of this border. When you finally free from this person of limited means, these folks are, whoever you hooked up with is Mexico at its finest. You're so blocked up. The economy's jacked up. Your spiritual economy, everything on that side is jacked up. And you can't provide for yourself. You can't be spiritually free. You can't provide for your family. There are no opportunities. You're suffering. And if you continue without crossing over, without taking a chance to cross over, you're going to die. Now, we can point the finger in real life at Mexicans. God bless you, Maria. Trying to cross over and what have you. But I tell you what, they have something that we don't have. All right. Some of them know Jesus. A lot of them don't. But they're going by what they heard and what they realized, that people who don't know God can take a chance and crossing over, risking their lives, risking going to jail, risking all of the things that's coming down and crossing the border, and they don't know God. Why can't you cross over knowing God, knowing that there is a land of opportunity when you let this Mexico situation go? God does not desire for you to be tied down with someone you're not going to be married to. So God is in the process. Why things are jacked up now? That's a sign. That's God letting you know that there's something wrong. Okay? If you have a car and it's starting to make noise, that's confirmation that there's something wrong and you need to have a look at it to get it fixed. Your relationship is making so much noise right now. It's screaming. It's making a lot of noise right now. And that is letting you know that it's time to do something. You might have to get another car. So things are making noise in their life right now because God does not desire for you to be tied to this person you're not going to be married to. The rejection you're feeling right now by either your ex not being with this person or this person showing you that they're not going to go any further, it's often confirmation. God has allowed it to be so. Understand this. God has allowed this to be so to get your attention in order for you to know that you must cross the border. There's no more life where you're at. There's no more opportunities where you're at. Everything is limited. And you can't go back because you're only going, if you go back, you're going further back into Mexico. I hope y'all are with me so y'all got my analogy from the beginning. The only way to go is to go across the border. That's the only thing that you can do at this point. You can't go back because you're going back further into a country that it has all kinds of problems into the land. Okay? You ain't going to do nothing but run into more and more trouble. The only way is to cross over, and you're going to have to take a chance. If I had $100 in the bank and I knew that $1 million was coming to me, but I knew I had to take a possibility, I had to deal with the possibility of losing that $100 in order to get to the $1 million. Again, keep my border analogy in play here. In Mexico, say you got $100 and that's it. But you know, if you cross over, this is a land of opportunity if you can get in the right situation at the right place. There are people who have crossed over, not just from Mexico, but from different places all over because nobody except the Native Americans are here. This was their land. Everybody's crossed over into the U.S. for opportunity. There are people who came over here broke, but they took the same chances that everyone else had taken. They came here with only a few dollars in their pocket. They left $100 for the chance of the $1 million. God is saying tonight to leave that $100 relationship alone. I'm not going to let you have access to the $1 million until you can show me that you trust me enough and that you can be faithful enough to let go of the $100 relationship back in Mexico. If you're heartbroken right now, and as hard as the pain is right now, it's a good thing. I'm going to say that again. If you're heartbroken right now, as hard as the pain is, it's a good thing. If you're lonely right now, if a part of your heart is damaged, it's a good thing. I'm saying it's a good thing because now your heart is exposed. So the surgeon can now operate on you in order to heal you. God stood back and watched this person mess with your heart, mess with your mind, mess with your soul. He allowed that person to take a surgical knife and cut into your chest. Everyone said this is confirmation tonight. God sat back and watched this person cut into you. Not just cut into your chest cavity, but actually to slice through your heart. And your heart is exposed and is open. But God allowed that to happen. So now that your heart is exposed, now he's going to operate in order to heal you. I'm letting you know tonight, if you trust in God, don't trust in yourself. God bless you, Trina. God bless you, Stephanie Brazel. God bless you, Denise Tan Courier. God bless you, Cassandra Pugh. If you trust in God, he's going to make a way for you. But you got to trust him. You're going to have to trust him enough to let go of that prior person in order to get the blessing. You got to trust God enough to cross that Mexican border and enter into the U.S. By hell or high water, I'm crossing over into a land of opportunity. From hell or high water, I'm crossing over to create a new life for me and my family, my future family. Your future relies on you crossing over. Psalm 9 and 10 says, and they that know my name, thy name, will put their trust in thee. Do you know his name right now? And not just by lip service. Do you know his name? Anybody that's going to operate on me, I need to know the doctor's name. Do you know the doctor who needs to do surgery? How well do you know him? The more I know that person, the more comfortable I am in allowing him to do the surgery. Many of us won't let God do the surgery because we don't know his name enough to trust him in order to let him do it. I got a friend, she was a co-worker, but she and I were really good friends, and she was Jewish. And she said, you know, my dad needed open heart surgery. God bless you, Pam, Harrell. She said, my dad needed open heart surgery. And the surgeon came in to introduce himself to my dad, and he was black. And my dad was messed up. He said my dad was just, he was like, I can't. He said my dad was, he just could not get over the fact that the doctor was black. He heard the doctor's credentials and all of those other things about the doctor. This guy was well-renowned and everything. But his dad was jacked up. He was like, I don't know if I can let a black guy, operate on me. But he had to do some more research. Watch this. He did some more research. He let those who cared about him talk to him. He sat down and spent some time, thank you, Barbara, with the doctor. Psalm 9 and 10 says, and they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. So my friend, my Jewish friend, they talked to her dad. They said, look, this guy's one of the best around. You're going to have to get over this color thing. You're going to get over this other stuff, and you're going to have to let go in order for you to be healed. It's up to you, Dad. We love you. So the father gave in and let this man operate on him. And this black doctor, thank you, Lord, saved his life, and they became the best of friends. God is saying that I need you to know me well enough to let me do the surgery. See, the enemy had my friend's father all jacked up, dealing about color. Don't beat up on him, because the enemy has you the same way. He's got you so jacked up that you're letting other things get in the way of having faith enough, and you're letting this person that you are so attached to, you're letting that person get in the way. And what am I saying about this person? Again, my friend's father was just going off of history. My friend's father was going after probably the way he was taught in his house, and, generations. A lot of this stuff, this prejudice stuff, comes from generations of being around your exposure. You've been exposed to a bad person, and their prejudice, their spirit, watch this. You slept with this person, so their spirit is inside of you. This person probably doesn't have a relationship with God, and that same prejudice is keeping you from allowing God to operate on you. Oh, y'all missed that. That probably takes a whole lot of unpacking right in and of itself. You really might have to really ponder on that. So the same prejudice that my friend's father had. I love you, Chris. God bless you, man. All right, Chris. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm going to inbox you, man. We're going to get together and have that dinner. That same prejudice that my friend had, you have that same prejudice, because even though you have a relationship with God, you've allowed this person that you slept with that really doesn't know God to make you prejudiced and not wanting to let this person touch and operate on you. The topic tonight is moving on without them. moving from your ex, moving on. Somebody just said they wanted no topic. Moving on from the person that you know is no good for you. I'm using an analogy also tonight, crossing over from Mexico into the United States, into a land, from a land that's limited, where you can't help yourself or your family, into a land where there's opportunity. So how his confidence in God is supported, this is about the scriptures here, and encouraged by his experiences. Meaning your confidence in God should be supported and encouraged by your experiences. What experiences do you have from God? What has God brought you from the past? All of these things should give you encouragement to trust God to do the operation on you. The scripture says, in the 5th and 6th verse says, "Thou hast been my trust from my youth." Again, looking back on how God allowed you to be trained, how God, the experiences that you've had from your youth, you ought to trust God enough not to let this person that you had have such a hold on you that you are negating everything that God has done for you from the past. Let me say this. Some of us have been treated cruelly when we were children. Some of us have been messed over by adults when we were children, and that's happened. Many of us have been through some traumatic experiences. Sure, we were passed on and passed on and passed on. God made sure that we were protected. Even if you had some bad experiences, he made sure in the passing on that you were protected as you went to school, through grade school, as you went through intermediate school, as you went through junior high, as you went through high school, college, and God made sure, even though things weren't perfect, he made sure that he brought you to this place in time. And if God can make sure that he brought you to this place in time, God can bring you past this person, this intersect of a this situation of a person. He can get them totally out of the way and allow you to progress further. Let me say this. This is going to be kind of rough here. Thank you, Jolene. Watch this. This is real deep. You have to be careful. Listen to me. You have to be careful not to search for happiness in the same place where you lost it. There should be all kind of stuff. Hearts, thumbs up, all going across the screen right now. I'm going to say that one more time, and then I'm going to unpack it. You have to be careful not to search for happiness in the same place where you lost it. Those that are crossing over the border, having the Mexico-U.S. border, have enough sense not to search for happiness at the same place where they lost it. Oh, y'all not with me tonight. Y'all not with me. You can't search for happiness at the same place where you lost happiness. You've got to move forward. God wants you to move beyond this person. You are not going to find happiness until you move beyond this person where you lost your happiness. When I say move, I mean you got to cross the border on these folk. You got to cross the border on this situation. Many of us make the mistake. You live right across the street from Tony. I'm talking about spiritually. Y'all go to the same church. He's up in the balcony, you're on the floor. He's on the praise team. He's up in the pulpit and you're sitting in the congregation. You can't find happiness in the same place you lost it. You're going to have to cross the border. Oh, I wish I had somebody. Even if you got to cross the border, get your act together. Get your papers right so you don't have to deal with number 45. And then you come back over the border and get your family and bring them back over. Oh, I wish I had somebody here. But you cannot find happiness in the same place where you lost it. You're going to have to cross the border. Many of us have tried. You've tried to move over. Tried to move on with your life. Sherry said, I'm running right now. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Dawn. Many of us have tried to move on, but you haven't crossed over yet. You haven't crossed over in your heart. So even if you try to see somebody else, you're not, if you haven't crossed over yet, you're not going to find happiness. Let me give you an example. In the same place you lost it. Let me give you an example. How many of you have ever been hung up on somebody else? You desperately tried to move on. And you got with somebody else. And you really tried. God bless you, Gwendolyn Miles Kennedy. God bless you, Maria Mitchell. You really tried to get into this other person. This other person was a nice person. You tried your best. But you couldn't make the transition. And as soon as that other person texts you, God bless you, Beverly Green. God bless you, Michael Nelson. God bless you, Veronica. As soon as that person called you or gave some half apology, you were back in. And you left that person with the possibility of it was because you had tried to find happiness in the same place where you lost it. You got to cross the border first. Crossing the border means being completely, again, the border is there for a reason. You're moving from one country with one set of rules to another country with a whole different set of rules. Oh, Lord, I wish I had somebody. You're leaving a country that if you work hard, you're only going to make this amount of money. Versus if you could just cross the border, you can work as hard or just as hard and make much more money and be able to go a lot further with your resources. Many of us have made a mistake of trying to pick up something different at a place where we left or dropped off something. One of the greatest fears is losing control when we venture out into the unknown. One is the example I've given you about this Mexico-United States situation is the enemy is watching. He's watching your life. And depending on where you jump over the border, watch this, is going to depend if you're going to survive or not. I'm going to say that again and I'm going to explain what I'm going to say. If you've ever watched those specials, those news specials, where they've done the coverage of people crossing over the border from Mexico into the United States, depending on where you jump over will depend on if you're going to survive or not, period. There are some places, and usually it's the more places where there's no border security. There are some places that you can jump over, and you are in a totally remote area. There's just nothing around, and it's miles and miles and miles of terrain and mountains, and it's just unbelievable. And they said if you jump over the border, they showed some spots, and they said if you jump over the border here, you're not going to make it because it's too far to walk to any type of resources. I want you to be careful as God is preparing you to cross over. You're going to have to do some research. Here we go. You're going to have to do some research, not just jump. Because the enemy, here's how, watch this. Let me tell you about the enemy. Let me tell you this about the enemy concerning your situation that you're in right now. His first choice is that you don't leave Tony. His first choice is that you remain in bondage with this person. His first choice is that you stay in Mexico and don't try to cross the border. His first choice is for you to stay and be stuck trying to find happiness where you lost it. That's his first choice. If he can't get you to stay there, his next choice is going to try to get you to jump over the fence in a remote area where there are no resources. Y'all not with me tonight. And where you will most certainly perish. Oh no, y'all ain't with me. What does that mean? Have you ever broke up with somebody and you weren't prepared? And as soon as you jumped over, you realized there was no resources around, and you gave up so quick. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is all remote here. I don't see anything but coyotes and there's nothing over here. Then you jump right back over into bondage. Y'all know I'm talking to you tonight. Y'all know I'm talking to you tonight. That's the enemy's second choice for your life. To jump over into a place where you can't get any help. Your family's not there. You ever done that? You ever go into a long distance relationship and move out there to some foreign place? You jumped over the wall. You left a previous relationship and you jumped over the wall at the wrong place. And it was remote. You didn't have no family. You didn't have any help. There was nobody there that loved you or could take care of you. And the enemy was hoping that you would keep venturing out so you would run out of resources and die. Next thing, you catch yourself living in the past. One of the reasons why we can't move on is because we often find ourselves living in the past. If all you can do is attempt to relive something that has already happened, you're already missing out. Can't go by the past. You got to look at it what it is now, and most likely it's not going to change. You got to understand it for what it is, so you know you got to move on. It's time to claim ownership and full control of your life. Can't make any excuses. No excuses why this is like it is. It is what it is. You're going to have to cross over. You're going to have to trust in God more than you trust anything else ever in your life. I'm just letting you know. And somebody said, thank you, please give me strength. I believe that God will give you the strength if you make those critical steps to show him that you trust in him. You're going to have to do that. And if you don't do it, you know what the choices are. You're going to have to stay where you are, and you already know what that's going to bring you. All right, let me see if I have anything else here in my notes before I sign off here. I just believe tonight, if you trust him. Again, let me give you that. Psalm 9 and 10 says, and they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. Do you know him? How well do you know his name? For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. God is saying tonight, if you cross over the border and you trust in him, you have a relationship with him to trust in his name. You give him permission as the doctor to operate on your heart. It says, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. You make this move in faith. You seek him. Make this move in faith. the scriptures is declaring that he's not going to forsake you and he's not going to forget about you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have for tonight. I pray that you all were able to get something from this. But it's time. It's time to believe God. There's just no way you're going to be free if you don't make a move. It's just not going to happen. Without faith, it is impossible. Somebody say the word impossible. It is impossible to please God. Without faith, it's impossible. It's time to make some things possible in your life. Whatever this person was in their best of days cannot compare to what God has for you once you cross over the border. I'll say it one more time. Whatever this person was in their best days to you does not compare to the opportunities that God has for you once you trust him enough to cross the border. Let's look at it in the natural one more time before we sign off. Thank y'all so much for commenting. I love what y'all are writing here. If people from Mexico can face all of the dangers, sometimes, did y'all see it was about a month ago where some of the Mexicans, in defiance of all of these things that's going on, in defiance, sat on the wall. Did y'all see they were sat on top of the wall and in front of the border patrol, and they were sitting on the border wall on top. Hundreds of people, hundreds of them, defying both countries. Oh, y'all ain't with me. You've got to get to the point where you defy the devil. Make a move. Get on that wall and you look over into Mexico and tell that devil from hell, I'm crossing over. And then you tell the enemy in the U.S., I defy you as well. I'm coming over. I'm coming over. What am I saying? You could make an announcement to the enemy. Be on the border of the wall with your legs straddled on top of the fence. I'm coming over. You're doing this by faith, knowing that God can do exceedingly abundantly above all you ask or think. If you don't believe God, don't go up to the border. If you don't believe God, don't look between the border wall. Don't look over at the United States and complain. If you don't believe God, just understand, as long as you stay, because it all depends on where you are. It all depends on where you were born. God wants you to be born again. Oh, I wish I had somebody here. Because where you're born again, that's where you reside. Oh, Lord. Where you're born again, I wish I had somebody here. That's where your freedom is. Where you're born again, that's where the opportunities are afforded to you according to where you're born. Get away from this person. Get away from this person. Clayton Lewis is watching, y'all. Those of you all from Somerset, New Jersey. My brother. Timothy Bryce is watching. Lisa Johnson Patrick, saying, I trust him. Yolanda saying, glory. You got to leave this person. If it's a man, you got to leave him. If it's a woman, you got to leave them and step out on faith and get across that border wall. Get across. Get the opportunities. Again, many people came to this country dirt poor. God bless you, Timothy Bryce, awesome man of God there. Dirt poor, but they became millionaires. Remember I told you if you leave $100, you're going to have to leave $100 to get to the place where you can make $1 million. You're going to have to leave the $100 in order to get into the place where you can make $1 million. Read some rags to riches stories from people who did not belong in this country. They came here with only a few dollars in their pocket. Use their stories as a spiritual parallel to your life. There's $100 right here. That person, that relationship you have with that person, the most you can get out of there is $100. $100 don't take you nowhere. Okay? God has, and let me just say this. And when they crossed over, nobody handed them $1 million. Y'all like with me? They had to work for it. They had to have faith enough to know that if I can just skip my feet, plant my feet on higher ground, on a better land of opportunity, now I can maneuver. Oh, y'all not with me? But I've got to move in order to plant my feet someplace where there is opportunity. $100 with this person, you already know. It's been year after year after year. You've given this person chance after chance. They're sleeping around. You see that they're talking to other women on their phone. Some of you that are dealing with these women, they're just using you. They're just using you, spending money on them. They're just using you for what you have. They don't want to get married. You got to understand, this is it. $100. $100 is nothing. But nobody's going to hand anything over. Nobody's going to hand anything to you just because you entered into the United States. Those folks, those rags to riches stories, they had to work for it. Andrea Jackson said, faith without works is dead. You're going to have to work for it. What do you have to lose? What's $100? Leave this person. No more excuses. Leave them in their $100 life. Stop sleeping with them. Leave them. There's no gradual way to get over the wall. You try to do that gradually, and the Border Patrol is going to grab you. That's the enemy. The Border Patrol is going to grab you and throw you right before you even do it. You can't take your time with this. You ever had it in your mind? I'm going off in 2 minutes. I said I was going off early, but I got this last thing. You ever had it in your mind that you're going to leave this person, and then they do something, you change your mind, and you're back in? That's because the border, you waited too late, and you did it on a slow tip, and the Border Patrol caught you before you could get over the wall. Oh, y'all ain't with me tonight. You gotta do it. You gotta do it, and you can't be slow about it. There's no gradually, that's what I'm trying to say tonight. There's no gradual way of crossing the border. Ask the Mexicans, watch the TV specials. There's no gradual way. You got to get jiggy with it. I'm serious. You got to get jiggy with it. There's no way, no slow way. And then you're worried about, oh, well, how do they feel? How's this person going to feel if I leave them? How did you feel when they treated you like the way they did? How do you feel right now? They don't have any consideration of your feelings. What are you worried about them? And then some of you, oh, well, they got this problem. I'm trying to help them. Baby, there's $100 right here, and you're going to perish because $100 is not going to keep you for long. You can't even pay your cable bill with $100. Just a basic package is over $100. You try to add the internet to it. You got to come over. You got to come over. You got to go. You got to come over. Leave them. No more excuses. I got to give it to the Mexicans, those that want to cross over to a better life. I've got to give it to them. I got to give it to those who've tried. There are people who have died trying, but God is showing you that he is going to protect you. It says in Psalms 9 and 10, and they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. God bless you. I love you all tonight. I pray you got something from this message. Replay it, Share it with somebody. Be free. Allow God to free you. Trust him enough to cross over. Trust him enough to let him do the surgery on you. Trust him enough to move to a better land of opportunity. Lynetta March just said it in all caps. No more excuses. While those who are looking at from the other side and haven't crossed over, they're watching their family members cross over into a better land of opportunity. And the people that are still on the other side are missing out on the opportunities. I don't care what the world says about the ratio of available men. The longer you stay over here, the more opportunities you're going to miss. The longer you stay over here because you can't trust God enough to get across the border and to move, the more opportunities you're missing. There's some good women on this side that are waiting for a good man. There's some good men out over on the other side that are just waiting for a good woman to cross over. Don't waste your time. God bless you all. I love you all. Honey, thank you so much for being with me tonight. Thank you for your support. I love you all. I'll see you all next Monday. Take this message, prayerfully put it in your heart. Look online and just read some border stories. And then take those border stories and use the analogies and turn them over into your relationship and how you've been bound. And God just wants you to trust him enough to cross over. Good night.